co-founder of this firm, Mr. Ahmed is dedicated to expanding the company's wealth management and corporate finance offerings to the global marketplace through unique, ethical Sharia-guided solutions that capitalize on the strong Canadian economic environment. Canadian-born, Mr. Ahmed has a bachelor's in economics from the University of Calgary and has completed various professional development courses and financial industry designations, including the LLQP, and is a qualified Canadian investment manager with the Canadian Securities Institute. With over 10 years of financial services industry experience, Mr. Ahmed is a proud recipient of the Alberta Centennial Award in 2005 and for his outstanding contribution to Canadian business. Brother Suhail will be speaking to us about Ittihad Securities and the opportunities available for small business.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to first of all thank you for being here. To be honest, I'm very impressed by the attendance. And just carrying on from the topic in the earlier session, I'd like to see a show of hands for individuals here today that are from the financial services industry. Okay, good. And how many of you have spent at least 5 years in the industry? Okay, good. Now the reason I asked that is because I'd like to quickly introduce Ittihad Securities, but furthermore I'd like to share with you the story of how I got started with Ittihad Securities. When I started Everest Financial Group back almost 10 years ago in 1997, I had no idea of Islamic finance, to be honest. And being in Calgary, we were not as much exposed to ISNA and some of the other programs that you've had in Ontario for quite some time. So then, approximately in 2004, we had a huge community issue where we needed to expand our school, the Islamic school. And we found this wonderful building, which was a private school, and would be able to facilitate a full high school for the Islamic Calgary school. And it was a steal at $6.25 million. So now, of course, mind you, this is on about 20 acres and a huge established facility. And as a community, and my father was involved on the council, we made the offer, conditional to closing in about a year. And then all of a sudden the community, and especially the council and my father, was in a panic that, okay, so we need to raise $6.25 million in a year from a community that is probably, I would say, 1/10 the size of the community here in Toronto. And being in the financial services industry at that time, I was an advisor. And I said, well, can't we just borrow it, or, well, it's not a lot of money, right? $6.25 million, especially from the financial perspective. And then, we decided to look at alternatives. And my father actually pushed me to look at alternatives. Okay, how can we structure this? And because we knew through donations, it was going to be a challenge, and there's only so much Hassan that you can take. And, we didn't necessarily want to go to the Middle East to raise the funds. So bottom line, it exposed me to Islamic finance. And it was truly a catalyst for Ittihad Capital Corporation, which is a parent company. So I'd like to give you an intro to Ittihad Securities. And if you're new to Islamic finance, and you don't necessarily have any experience in Islamic finance, that does not mean you cannot get involved. So part of my presentation is going to be to give you an idea of what we do and what we started 3 years ago when Islamic finance was non-existent, especially in the West. And alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us the opportunity to be a pioneer in the industry. And we wanted to focus on uniting investment capital for projects that were needed by the community, by Muslim businesses, and to meet the needs of investors that wanted to earn halal. So Ittihad Securities is an investment dealer specialized in structuring products to meet the growing needs of all ethically, socially responsible investors. So we connect ethically minded investors with socially responsible and economically viable investment opportunities. And this first project was this Islamic school. And alhamdulillah, it was our first project, and in about 7 months, we raised $1 million and took a Musharraf ownership in a $6.25 million building. And alhamdulillah, we were able to contribute, because I know the last few days when we were closing, even with the $1 million that Ittihad brought in, we were still mustering up, and it even motivated me more to develop Ittihad and an institution that would be able to fund our projects in an Islamic manner. So the solutions we provide are basically for first of all, businesses and private clients. For private clients, they're basically the investors that are looking for investment opportunities where they can have a genuine solution without any cross-contamination. So you're investing directly in projects that you know are in a halal industry where there is no involvement of interest. They're primarily in venture capital or startup, mid-market businesses that are looking for expansion in real estate development. And I've covered that briefly. Now the solutions for businesses, we've structured them primarily on the Musharaka model. We had initially started off with Murabaha for capital equipment financing. So after the closing of this private school, the Islamic school, then we focused on helping businesses fund their business growth. And so we started funding through Murabaha 2, 3, 4-year terms construction equipment. And further, we realized that even after raising almost $3 million, it was not enough. And that prompted us to expand the scope and to ensure that that had capital did not fall into one of the public perception issues that a lot of firms face as Islamic finance firms. Brother Rushdie Siddiqui earlier pointed out to the media and how the perception of the media of Islamic finance firms. So what we did is we said that Ittihad capital complies with Sharia guidance, and it is also socially responsible, which means that it's investing, including screens that are looking for positive and negative issues on social and environmental topics. Now, as a business owner, did we care about SRI? Or as a business owner in the audience, does SRI or being socially responsible matter? I believe it does. Because back in 2004, when we were doing investor presentations and raising this money from individuals across the country, I used to try to figure out $62 billion that you have to invest in Ittihad because we're part of a $62 billion industry in Canada where Islamic finance or Islamic finance asset management, corporate finance, investment banking is non-existent. And the survey from the Canadian Social Responsible Investment Review came out earlier this year, and it literally said that the market size had grown almost 8-fold. And now we have over $500 billion under management with an SRI mandate. So that is huge in Canada. And there are several reasons for this. We've had Enron, WorldCom, and furthermore, the aging demographics, people are becoming more concerned with how their money is invested. So as Muslims, we have to be concerned. And as any individual that cares on what the future holds for their environment, for their society, they want to make sure that their wealth is contributing in a positive way. So as a business owner, social responsible investing and Islamic finance go hand in hand. And SRI should be part of best practices for any business. And it also helps develop accountable corporate culture. And as Muslim business owners, now through Ittihad, you have alternatives to financing. So that you're not only avoiding interest transactions in terms of home financing and investments, but it should also be a part of your business dealing. And as non-Muslim businesses, you have an opportunity to build credibility and a presence in one of the fastest growing demographics in Canada, which the Muslim population is. So Ittihad has securities, and actually, I think we're missing a couple of slides, but Ittihad has securities was therefore built on the presence of being able to connect viable economic projects with investors. They want direct access. And in conclusion, I would encourage individuals that have at least 5 years of experience in the industry, and individuals that may not necessarily have that 5 years, they should take the opportunity to learn from existing institutions, and now with the prevalence of the internet and the market in the Middle East,